Have you ever sat alone in a dimly lit living room, your phone lying next to you as your heart races, waiting for a text that may never come? Have you ever felt your heart like a bottomless pit, always empty, no matter how much you give your messages, your smiles, your hope, even your tears, and you wonder, why is every effort in vain? Why won't they reciprocate my feelings? We, who carry the fear of abandonment, are used to blaming ourselves. I'm just not good enough. I must love too much. So they pull away. But the truth is, you're not loving too much. You're merely seeking a solid anchor to prevent yourself from shattering every time emotions surge. Dating someone unwilling to open up is like trying to patch a sinking boat. The more you patch, the more holes appear. Imagine a late afternoon where you stare out the window, mentally ticking off each passing second. Every second feels like a lost opportunity. You stand at a crossroads, continue chasing elusive shadows, or patiently build an inner sanctuary strong enough so that one day you won't flinch when the door slams shut. Because only when you recognize and halt your old patterns, leaving boundaries open, idealizing others, or avoiding emotional regulation, do you truly embark on the healing journey. Over the next times, I will guide you through the 3 earliest signs that prove you are shedding the cycle of anxious attachment, from owning your choice in relationships, seeing through intoxicating illusions, to cultivating your capacity for self-regulation. These are the keys to unlocking the door so you're no longer a clingy heart, but a confident soul at peace with yourself. Stay with me, because this might be the pivotal turning point in the rebirth of your heart. Today, we will take a deep dive into the 3 earliest signs that you are genuinely beginning to heal from anxious attachment, an inner journey of self-repair that goes far beyond coping mechanisms and builds the very foundation you need to stand firmly on your own 2 feet. This is vitally important because most of us focus so much on how to become secure that we overlook the most fundamental first steps, recognizing when real change is actually beginning instead of feeling lost amid a sea of theories and exercises. These early signs are like road markers on a long journey. If you miss them, you risk getting lost halfway, losing heart before you even enter the deeper stages of healing. Conversely, when you seize these subtle yet meaningful shifts, you gain a powerful mental leverage, sustaining your motivation and confidence through those unsettling moments. Therefore, in the next segment, I won't merely list the 3 signs. I'll also sketch an overarching framework showing how they work in harmony, from becoming aware of your right to choose healthier relationships, to seeing through intoxicating fantasies, and finally recognizing the power of self-regulation. In this way, you won't just grasp the theory, you'll see the roadmap of your journey, a clear, actionable path you can start following immediately to progressively build an inner sense of security strong enough that you no longer feel entirely dependent on others for safety. Remember, knowing these early signs means you are actively steering your own course. Instead of drifting on the current of anxiety, you can navigate toward a peaceful harbor with clarity about the strategies, tools, and mindset required at each stage. After understanding the overall framework of the healing journey and the 3 early signs, it's time to jump into reality, observing the specific manifestations that pull you into the vicious cycle of anxious attachment. Imagine Emily, 28, sitting on her sofa one Friday afternoon. Her phone lies to her right, and she stares intensely at the screen. Every time the little blue dot appears beneath his message, her heart seems about to leap out of her chest, but the moment the message doesn't come, her heartbeat shatters, her breathing quickens, and her fear becomes all too real. Emily isn't merely waiting for a text. She's exhibiting 3 hallmark symptoms that anyone with anxious attachment has experienced. Firstly, she is chasing someone who is emotionally unavailable. He doesn't reply for hours, never initiates calls, not even a short date. While normal people would understand he's just busy, Emily feels abandoned, brushed aside. She puts her faith in someone unwilling to receive it, repeatedly texting, "Are you okay?" or "Is everything all right?" just to see a tiny sign that he still cares. This behavior is like trying to dribble water into parched soil, hopeless but irresistible. Next, Emily scripts stories in her head and experiences extreme disappointment when reality doesn't match her perfect dialogue. If he truly cares, he will ask directly, not tease. But when he replies with a light emoji or a brief sentence, her script shatters. Suddenly, she feels like an actor who has forgotten her lines on an empty stage. Every small detail is blown out of proportion. She starts blaming him for being insensitive and herself for being flawed. Did I talk too much? Does my voice sound annoying? These looping questions plunge Emily deeper into despair, eroding her self-worth and her faith in the relationship. Finally, in panic and self-doubt, she reaches out to others for help. Friends grow tired of late-night calls asking, "What did he say?" Family feels exhausted by her barrage of "I'm not okay" messages. Whenever her anxiety spikes, Emily seeks solace, a piece of advice, a word of encouragement, even a quick hug. Yet this support is only temporary. It's like using tape to patch peeling wallpaper. The relief comes fast and leaves just as quickly, and each time the wall cracks even wider. This reliance on external regulation prevents Emily from standing on her own. Instead, she becomes like an addict, increasingly dependent on her comfort fix. So, before you dive headfirst into meditation or breathwork exercises, take a moment to pause and truly notice where you stand right now. Ask yourself, what am I doing when my heart races? When I keep chasing without getting anything in return? Only when you acknowledge those three signals, pursuing someone who's emotionally distant, scripting perfect scenarios only to feel crushed when they fail, and endlessly seeking someone else to save you from your own turbulent emotions, can you move on to the next phase, uncovering the deeper roots and starting to transform from within. We've just observed the three hallmark symptoms of anxious attachment: chasing someone emotionally unavailable, collapsing when imagined scripts fail, and constantly seeking others to rescue us from emotional chaos. Now, let's delve deeper to understand why we act this way, and most importantly, see the signs that you're genuinely beginning to heal at the root. Sign 1, recognizing I chose the wrong person, chasing the unavailable. Phenomenon description. Previously, you might not realize you've been caught in a loop. You target people seemingly unavailable for deep connection, then lament why they don't reciprocate. You spend hours wondering what they're doing, whether they miss you, or if they really care. This behavior is like trying to pour water onto parched earth, ineffective, yet irresistibly compulsive. Academic explanation. According to Bartholomew and Horowitz's attachment model, 1991, anxiously attached individuals tend to pursue avoidant others. This paradox stems from a deep-seated need for care and protection, seeking a caretaker figure, but unfortunately choosing people who express emotion minimally, don't initiate sharing, and often withdraw when intimacy grows. The anxious person is drawn to the avoidant, unconsciously believing once this caretaker shows emotion, all their caregiving needs will be met. In reality, avoidants instinctively pull away when relationships become too close. Real-life illustration. Consider Emily's story. Whenever she feels insecure, instead of turning to someone openly caring, she texts a cold colleague who never calls back. When he declines a weekend coffee, she excuses him as probably busy and still avoids opening up to friends. Emily ends up more isolated, chasing a feeling that doesn't exist. Significance: when you begin to heal, you stop blaming them for not caring and instead realize you have the right to choose someone suitable. Acknowledging past mistakes in choice lays the groundwork to set new standards. If someone isn't ready to walk with you, let them go rather than drag them back. This isn't rejecting love, it's protecting your emotions. Sign 2, seeing through limerence obsessive fantasy. Definition of limerence: Tenov, 1979, coined limerence to describe an intoxicating infatuation that elevates someone onto an imaginary pedestal, a fusion of crush and fantasy. Limerence makes us idealize the other, projecting perfection onto them despite real-world evidence to the contrary. Illustrative example: you imagine this person as always insightful, empathetic, attuned to every word you say. In your mind, candlelit balconies, romantic playlists, and laughter-filled conversations are already scripted. But when reality is a simple hey and radio silence afterward, your entire fantasy crumbles. Analysis. Limerence acts like rose-colored glasses, blinding you to reality and revealing only the idealized version of that person. When reality fails to match this fantasy, you feel betrayed and disenfranchised, often spiraling back into a cycle of hoping and disappointment. Healing indicator. An early healing sign is when you can ask yourself, am I overdrawing this picture of them? Confronting reality and reducing unrealistic expectations helps you accept others with their strengths and flaws, sparing you the pain of shattered illusions. Sign 3. Recognizing the value of self-regulation. Initial struggle with co-regulation. While still anxiously attached, you believe only others can soothe you in moments of insecurity. You rely on late-night calls, comforting messages, or impromptu meetups as a quick fix to loneliness, like a temporary balm. What is self-regulation? Levine and Heller, 2010, emphasize cultivating self-regulation, building a relationship with yourself, establishing internal trust and accountability to soothe your own distress. Self-regulation isn't about shutting others out, but knowing how to calm yourself before seeking external support. Early signs of progress. You're moving towards self-regulation when you start experimenting with tools such as breathing exercises, 4-7-8 technique. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Journaling, logging triggers, emotions, and reactions to identify your patterns. Grounding exercises, engaging your senses. Name 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 textures you feel, etc. The moment you consciously choose a breathing exercise or journal entry over spiraling thoughts, you lay the foundation for a more resilient inner world. We've now decoded the 3 early signs that herald the start of your healing journey. Recognizing you chased the wrong person, seeing through the haze of limerence, and grasping the importance of self-regulation. In the next section, we'll reframe these insights with a fresh perspective to understand why these behaviors aren't mere habits, but signals of your emerging internal security, and, more importantly, we'll equip you with the breakthrough steps to transform yourself with confidence and resilience. Having decoded the 3 early signs, recognizing you chased the wrong person, seeing through limerence, and beginning to self-regulate, it's now time to reframe your approach with a fresh perspective. Many people still hold an outdated belief. Push harder, demand more, and they'll finally get you. You might have tried everything: constant texts to grab attention, dramatic ultimatums to force a reaction, or setting rules and deadlines to coerce proof of love. Yet, the harder you press, the more the other person pulls away or reacts negatively. Trying to force someone else into feeling safe for your sake is fundamentally flawed, because external safety is never lasting if your own interior remains shaky at the slightest sign of silence. The new perspective you must internalize is, you can't force others to feel secure. You can only build security within yourself. This means shifting focus from your partner's behaviors, slow responses, lack of initiative, to creating an internal foundation so solid that you no longer waver at any external cue. Imagine yourself as an ancient oak. Your roots dig deep into the earth, so when storms shake your branches, your trunk stands firm. Those roots represent your inner trust, confidence, and self-soothing strategies for emotional turmoil. When you try to force others to be safe, you inadvertently hand them the reins of your emotional well-being. If they meet your criteria, you feel secure. If not, you spiral into anxiety. You become a slave to someone else's standards. Conversely, focusing on nurturing your secure base means developing routines, beliefs, and tools that let you calm yourself. This isn't about shutting people out, but learning to say, even if I feel hurt, I'm okay. I can take care of myself, even in their silence. From this new vantage, every moment your heart races without a message is an opportunity to practice self-regulation, deep breaths, self-reflection, naming emotions instead of projecting them onto your partner. Every time an imagined script collapses, remind yourself, this was my fantasy. Welcome reality with its imperfections. Over time, you evolve into a calm companion, a rational partner, not because they changed, but because you changed your own emotional frequency and behavior. The shift from pleading to self-agency is the pivotal turning point in healing anxious attachment. When you stop expecting your partner to treat you a certain way and instead generate inner peace yourself, you discover a power born not from them, but from within you. You cease chasing the shadow of affection and become the master of your own confident, loving, and resilient light. In summary, this reframing phase demands you abandon blaming and frantic chasing, cede control of your emotions to yourself, and build your own secure base. Only then will you truly realize that happiness is not something you receive, it's something you create. In the next section, we move into healing, where you'll gain concrete tools and exercises to set healthy boundaries, practice effective self-regulation, and fortify your internal security for a systematic, sustainable emotional rebirth. Having reframed your approach, the next crucial step is to turn theory into practice with 3 core tools: boundary setting, self-regulation exercises, and building your internal secure base. These elements will transform self-agency into habit, anchoring you firmly on your path to recovery. 1. Boundary setting. Boundaries are not just about saying no to others. They communicate your self-respect and teach others how to treat you. Without clear limits, people overstep, leaving you exhausted from catering to their needs first. Confidently setting boundaries signals, I know my worth, and I deserve respect. Why set boundaries? Self-respect. You refuse behaviors and words that harm your value and emotions. Teaching others. Boundaries define what's acceptable and what's off limits. Sample phrase. I need 24 hours to pause before continuing this conversation. I'll message you when I'm ready. Quick role-play training. Partner up. One demands too much. The other practices the sample phrase calmly and firmly. After each role, give feedback. Was I clear? Did I maintain composure? Repeat until you can say the phrase without wavering or raising your voice. 2. Self-regulation exercises. Once you master boundaries, the next skill is learning to soothe your own emotions. Here are 3 simple yet powerful tools. Breath work. 4-7-8 technique. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 7 seconds. Exhale gently for 8 seconds. Color code steps for memory. Green. Inhale. Yellow. Hold. Red. Exhale. Repeat 4 cycles when anxiety spikes. Journaling. Spend 10-15 minutes nightly logging. Trigger. What set off your emotion? Emotion, for example, anxious, angry, sad. Reaction, thought, or behavior you did. Observe patterns. How do you react when ghosted or fantasy fails? Note 1 alternative response to try next day. Grounding. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 sensory check. Name 5 things you see. Name 4 things you hear. Name 3 things you feel by touch. Name 2 things you smell. Name 1 thing you taste. This practice anchors you in the present, reducing chaotic thoughts. 3. Building your internal secure base. Boundaries and self-regulation stop emotional drain. Your internal secure base replenishes it. Visualization. Internal safe space. Close your eyes, breathe deep, and imagine a place of absolute peace, an empty beach at sunset, a cozy forest cabin, or your favorite cafe. Recall every detail. Colors, sounds, scents. Return here when feeling unsafe. Self-soothing objects. Choose items that bring calm. A favorite song, a poem, a painting, or a smoothing stone. In moments of emptiness, play the song, read the poem, or hold the object for comfort. Mini rituals. Each morning, spend 5 minutes check-in. Today I feel, what do I need? How will I stay calm? List 3 small intentions focused on positive emotions. 7-day checklist and feedback. Track each day whether you practiced boundary, breath work, journaling, grounding, visualization. At week's end, review which habits were easy or hard. How did you feel compared to last week? Adjust next week's plan. You are now equipped with the golden trio of tools: boundary setting, self-regulation exercises, and building your internal secure base. These practices not only help you manage immediate emotional shocks, but also lay the groundwork for a resilient, confident, and proactive you. In the final section, we will summarize this journey, reinforce your resolve, and outline small next steps to keep your momentum and continue on the path to full recovery. The journey of healing from anxious attachment isn't a straight line, but a series of systematic steps, identifying the phenomena, recognizing when you chase unavailable people, fall prey to limerence, or lean too heavily on others, decoding the underlying causes through academic insights into the psychology behind each behavior, reframing your mindset, shifting from pleading to self-agency, and finally, healing with practical tools, boundary setting, self-regulation exercises, and building a resilient, internal, secure base. Each stage has its own value. Identification stops you to observe, decoding brings understanding, reframing sparks a cognitive shift, and healing equips you with tools in hand to take action. The most crucial element is consistency. Persistently practice boundaries, breath work, journaling, grounding, and visualization every day. These seemingly small habits accumulate into inner strength, freeing you from reliance on external cues for security. Now, take a moment to reflect. How far have you come on this path? Share your experiences, wins, or challenges in the comments. Don't forget to bookmark this video for reference and subscribe so you won't miss our next deep dive into advanced techniques for cultivating internal security. Thank you for joining me, and may you always find peace on the journey of loving yourself.